Resuming debate, the honourable member for South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to Bill C-246 today, and I thank the member from Beaches East York for bringing it forward. It deals with three rather loosely related issues: animal cruelty, the importation of dog and cat fur, and shark finning. I've received a lot of feedback on this bill from constituents, most of it in favor of the bill because it seeks to strengthen animal cruelty law, but I've also heard a serious concern from outdoors enthusiasts who felt that the bill might have inadvertently caught up hunting, fishing, and trapping in the web of animal cruelty provisions. I've had meetings with 3 hunters groups in my riding who expressed this concern clearly. I assured them then, and I assured them again, that this is certainly not the case, and if it were, I could not support it. That said, I would be happy that if the committee would explore amendments that would make that crystal clear and perhaps list the legal activities that were excluded, as the previous member stated. But this is really about criminal cruelty, not legal hunting, fishing, trapping, or agriculture. Now, I'd like to spend the rest of my time talking about the third issue dealt with in this bill, and that is shark finning. Finning is the practice of removing fins from live sharks on board fishing boats and tossing the big animals overboard where they die a cruel death. So in that sense, finning might belong in this bill about animal cruelty, but it's really the impact on shark populations and how that changes our ocean ecosystems that I think is a deeper concern. Mr. Speaker, many Canadians might not know how widespread, important, and diverse sharks are in Canadian waters. There are 28 species of sharks off our shores, most of them large predators. Some are at the top of the food chain and play a key role in shaping our marine ecosystems. Like many large predators, they're slow-growing, slow to mature, slow to reproduce. These are all features that make their populations very sensitive to overharvest, especially the overharvest of adults. And sharks have been suffering serious population declines in recent decades for a variety of reasons. Of the 245 species of sharks in the world, 65, more than a quarter, are on the red list compiled by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. They're at some real risk of extinction. The Committee on the Status of Endangered Wildlife in Canada, CSIWC, has assessed 6 species of Canadian sharks and listed 3 as endangered and 3 as species of special concern. The 2 main causes of population declines are fisheries bycatch and shark finning. And these 2 issues are related, since many sharks caught in other fisheries, such as the longline fisheries for tuna and swordfish, are routinely finned and tossed back. Estimates of the numbers of sharks finned each year are difficult to calculate, but all estimates are mind-bogglingly high. 100 million is the standard answer, but some estimates are over twice that. This practice is changing our oceans forever. Can you imagine 100 million bears disappearing from our forests each year and what that would do to our ecosystems? Or what about the loss of 100 million lions from the plains of Africa? Some species are particularly hard hit by finning. The scalloped hammerhead has declined by over 90%. One study suggests a loss of 98% over a period of 30 years off the east coast of North America. Data from the same coast indicate that the population of oceanic white-tip shark, once one of the most abundant large animal species in the world's oceans, declined by over 70% between 1992 and 2000. So that's 70% in only 8 years. This species is rapidly becoming functionally extinct. So I heartily support this bill and its effort to curb the trade in shark fins. It's a good first step, an essential first step, but Canada could and should be doing more on both the national and international stages to make an impact here. The government has spent a lot of effort to get the message out that Canada's back on the world environmental scene, but we are sorely lagging in many aspects of global environmental action. For example, we could be cooperating with other nations in the International Commission on the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna, who have been calling for meaningful bycatch limits for sharks during the tuna fishery. But both Canada and Japan have been dragging their feet on this issue. We could take the bold step to promote the listing of all shark species on Appendix 2 of CITES, so that the international trade in shark fins can be better regulated. And in our own backyard, Canada needs to reinvest in fisheries science and monitoring. Setting regulations about bycatch and creating laws about shark finning will accomplish little if there's not a significant government presence on our coast to actually witness what is happening to our oceans. And we could put more emphasis on science when government receives listing recommendations from CSIWIC. CSIWIC makes annual recommendations on species to add to the species at risk schedules, and government then decides whether to act or not. Bird species are almost always added as a matter of course, but fish species only have a 50-50 chance of being listed because economics often trumps the science of endangerment. We must rebalance this policy to ensure that our ocean ecosystems remain healthy into the future. So in closing, Mr. Speaker, I reiterate that I will support this bill. It's about criminal acts of cruelty, not legal hunting, fishing, and trapping agriculture. And I support it both for its strengthening of the animal cruelty law and for its steps to support the conservation of sharks. Thank you.